And I think we're live. As always, there's that fun delay.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, welcome to the weekly Me Muting My Other Tab podcast. One would think that I would have that down by now, but I don't.
Yeah.
But nobody's in chat yet, so that's cool. And with me, as always, is J Chip from the J Chip Show. And how are you?
I'm doing all right. As you can see, there is no Art of Anime for this week, but he should be popping up in about a half hour because he's doing the real world stuff.
Yeah, lots of real world things.
Yeah. I was doing real world things about a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah. Everybody does real world things in real world time. I was sick as hell yesterday. I thought I wasn't even going to go. I went to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament today, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. And I thought I wasn't even going to go because I had this crazy headache and my sinuses they're still fucked up. Like I was like Saturday, so today's Sunday, so like last night, so like Saturday night, I was like fighting sleep at like 9:30. Like it was the lamest Saturday night of anyone's life.
Yeah.
But you were shoveling snow.
Yep.
And I know that much that sucks because I partially do that for a living sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks. I hate snow. I wish I could get a job that was in like Arizona. Then I could just never have snow ever again.
Yeah. Texas was nice.
Yeah, you got to live. Yeah, you've lived in no snow.
I've never lived in Texas.
Oh, you just been there?
Yeah, I've been to Texas for.
And I've been to Florida.
Yeah, you've been to the place where I was born.
I've been to the place where you were born.
I was born in Florida.
Oh, you're born in Florida? I never knew that.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where in Florida?
Ocala.
Okay. Oh my God, that's where A Day to Remember's from.
I don't know who that is.
There's a band called A Day to Remember from Ocala. They have a shirt that says Ocala. I think they might have a song called Ocala.
Yeah,
but that's the only reason I know what that is.
I was like a little baby, so I don't remember my time in Florida. I was like 11 months old before I moved up to North.
I was born in the city that's next to the town that I live in, and I have always lived in this town that I live in. So there you go. I have never lived anywhere else.
You got people in here being like, why the fuck are they not talking about anime?
I mean, yeah, nobody yet. Actually, that's a lie. I lived at college for 4 years, which was 45 minutes away. So that's the only time I've ever. And I lived in Japan for 7 days.
Yeah, I have not exited the United States.
That was my first time. Oh, get this! I went with a friend, but we didn't take the same flight out. We just met up in Japan.
Yeah,
that's the crazy thing. Number one, and B was that before going to Japan, he had never flown.
Oh, that's a fun time.
His first flight was from Massachusetts, where we live, to like Chicago or something, and then Chicago to California. Usually that's what they have you do. And then like Chicago to California, California to Japan or whatever. Or just like straight from Massachusetts to California. And then it was Japan.
Remember, guys, chew gum when you are on the plane going up, because your ears will hurt like a motherfucker.
Yeah, they're gonna pop like a sumbitch, just like that pen I just dropped down there that I don't think I'm gonna be able to ever find. Holy shit, that might be in the Nether, like in Minecraft. Oh no, there it is.
Oh,
it's okay. It's missing the top of it anyway. I broke it off, so it's a useless pen.
I was about to say, press F to pay respect for pen, but you saved the pen.
Yeah, it's okay.
But you should still press F anyway.
I have this weird thing where I like to have something in my hands. I'm sure people will notice this in like every podcast. I hate just not having something. So like
I have Goku in my hand.
Like this is a useless pen because the cap broke. So like I can't even like click the thing. So like I just have it just to hold it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm weird. Hey, Sweet Pea and Light. F for pen. I have a weird hand fixation. Some people have an oral fixation. I do chew on that's the other thing is I did chew on this pen cap till it broke. So there's the other thing. I have a lot of
Yeah.
fixations. I'm a really fucked up person, apparently.
Yeah.
But you know what's one thing that can be beautiful and can be fucked up is animation. And that's what we're going to talk about in a few moments. But I want to start with I want to know what you have been watching lately. One of the things we both watched, so I'm interested to talk about that. But what else have you checked out recently?
I finished Gravitation. I'll post my review of that whenever I decide not to be a lazy fucker and actually do it. Then I am continuing Inuyasha.
Yay.
I got to Sango. And,
Best girl confirmed.
Kikyo is better.
Shut the fuck up. Although I'm liking Kikyo. See, that hurts because I'm liking Kikyo more and more as I get older. But Sango's always.
Sango is Rangiku if she was in Bleach.
I don't remember.
She's the big busty woman that is the lieutenant of Squad 10.
The girl with like the dust sword?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's not a bad kid.
Sango's like a demon slayer. Sango's like an independent woman, though.
So is Rangiku.
I feel like Rangiku needs the white-haired guy.
Not really.
All right, I don't know enough Bleach.
She can fight for herself. She's just a lieutenant.
That's true.
Yeah.
And so then you already know Moroku as well.
Yep.
Moroku's the man.
He's eh.
He's eh? I think Moroku's hilarious.
I like the little fucker more than I would.
You like Shippo better?
I don't think Shippo was as bad when he was introduced, but I can see him getting lame as the series goes on.
I like Shippo versus the Thunder Brothers, and then that's it.
He's better than Kon. I'll give you that.
What's wrong with Moroku?
He
touches asses and he tries to fuck mad bitches, and he's a monk, which is funny.
Okay.
And he's a con artist. He's like, I sense a demonic presence in your finest hotel room. We need to stay there for the night.
Yeah, but does he have orange hair and is a badass that wields black swords?
No, he has the wind tunnel, which is like the most OP move in the history of time. It's so OP that they're going to nerf it very soon, and you'll see how.
I don't know, man. That Toad in that one episode, the Toad Prince or whatever, that was fucking awesome, and the dub was amazing.
Light has never seen Inuyasha. I do have a friend who likes it a lot. It's her favorite anime for some reason. It is my favorite anime as well. I think Light, it's a nostalgia glasses thing because like I love Inuyasha, but I know it's not consistently good. It's
not a bad show. I'll give it its credit. It does do good stuff, but it does, even for that first like 20 some episodes that I watched, it does drag a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like it has to. She just wrote that. It's a 56 volume manga.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. She never got tired. Well, actually, I can't say that she never got tired and wrote something else because she wrote like 9 other things that were all really long. I don't think Rumiko Takahashi ever stops writing things. I don't think she sleeps.
I feel like when she is, or whenever a series is done, it's whenever like someone's like physically pulling the book away or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like she has to go in timeout and she can't continue her series.
So you've been watching Inuyasha, and then there's another series that you reviewed recently.
Yeah.
Well, you actually reviewed it before I reviewed it.
I reviewed it like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's called Bento, and I liked it at first. I thought it was a really cool, wacky show. Then it continued, and I was just like, it's eh.
I, too, reviewed the Bento.
Indeed.
You should watch both of our reviews at the same time in separate tabs.
Yeah.
And
just get
like both of them.
Just get 2 monitors, and if for whatever reason Art of Anime decides to make a video about bento, I don't know why he would, because
make a deep analysis of bento.
yeah, just watch all 3 of them at the same time.
I do have some issues with bento, which I feel bad because it was a patron recommendation.
Oh, don't feel bad. I've shitted on Patreon.
But I am going to be honest. I'm not going to bullshit you. If Light ever gave me money and he said, "Hey, review this piece of shit," I'm going to say it's a piece of shit. I might say it's a piece of shit just because it's Light. I might say something like MHA is better. Takahashi never wants to end her manga. That's true. That ties into. I don't mean to jump. I have watched 1 episode now. I meant to watch some more today, but I never got to. I started my second third because I dropped 1. So I started another Takahashi anime. I started Meisun Ikoku, which is from the 80s, I believe, and it's pretty cool. It's about like you get a pretty good gist of it in episode 1. It's this dude named Godai who is similar to the dude in Shobits. He's in like cram school because he couldn't get into college right away. And he lives in this apartment building on his own, but the apartment building it's kind of it's really kind of run down, and like the rest there's a big it's like Love Hina. There's a big hole in his wall, by the way, that his neighbors can just walk into, and his neighbors are all like party animals. Like they're all like trunks, and there's a really like slutty girl. And there's there's 2 drunk guys. Then there's I'd say like a middle-aged woman who actually has a son, but whenever she can get away from the son, she spends her time drinking with like these other partiers. And they always go into Godai's room and shit. So he can never study. That's like a recurring joke. He always goes to study. So he's living in this fucking apartment. He can't afford to live. It's like really cheap to live there. And then so he's stuck there. And he's fed up with it. He's going to leave. And then the place gets a new, I don't know what the term would be, like house manager, like I would say a landlord. But you know, like in Japan, in anime, they have like the girl that's always sweeping with the apron.
Yeah.
Like in Clan Ad or in like insert every anime ever.
Love Hina has one, except it's a dude.
Okay, yeah. Whenever you see a character sweeping with an apron on, they are a landlord for some reason. Apparently, that's all landlords do in Japan. Chobits has So, but this girl is bae. Like, this girl is Kyoko Otonashi. And he's about to leave, and when he goes to leave out the door, she is first coming in, and he basically has fallen in love with her at first sight. She's pretty hot, and he's like, she's near his age. And he's like, if it's weird to him that somebody so young is now in charge of this apartment complex. So he decides that he's going to stay and try to get to know her. But he still can't study.
So this is a Rumiko Takahashi stuff, right?
Yep. 96 episodes long.
I've noticed in her like anime that she has like this fantasy type element to it, or sci-fi. Like Urusei Yatsura has aliens. Ranma 1/2 is like the gender swap, and obviously Inuyasha.
Yeah,
it feels like it's kind of cool knowing that a mangaka can go outside of her like realm.
Yeah. Seemingly so far there is no that's a really good point that I actually didn't think of, was that like everything else, because I said that this was my like third because I started and dropped a show called Rine, which is like I feel bad to say this about my girl Rumiko Takahashi, but it's like a shitty Inuyasha meets like a shitty Bleach meets like a shitty Noragami. Because it's like all 3 of those had a dumb baby that was really uninteresting. I don't really like Rine, so I dropped it. But that's her most modern piece.
I've never seen it.
It's not really worth it. I'm just glad that she's still kicking.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mason Ikoku seems like it's gonna be good. It's 96 freaking episodes long, so we'll see. Ruby's still going. I watched episode 6 of the new season today. That's awesome. People should watch Ruby. I too watched Bento. I had some issues with Bento, but it was pretty good overall.
Like with Bento, I didn't hate watching it. It's something I'm gonna forget about in like a month.
Yeah, I just didn't think it was consistently funny, and it's
Yeah,
not like nothing. Not a lot happens.
I
Like
wish.
it's just like
I think the main character was the biggest issue for me. I also thought that maybe he should have a bit more personality to him instead of
yeah,
being like the fuck boy that he is.
or like
'Cause
why don't they give us more time between him and Sen or white haired girl?
I mean, they kind of do it during the after credit scenes, but they're just throwaways.
And then when he's taking care of her when she's sick, that was
Yeah.
cool. I wanted more of that. Hey, Axel. Axel was actually the progenitor of tonight's discussion topic.
Yeah, it was. I rewatched last stream because that's what I do, and I was going through the chat, and Axel was just like, I want to see you guys do a podcast about traditional animation versus modern animation, and I was just like, fuck it, why not? It sounds like a cool topic.
Light said Rene, I plan on checking it out. I would say like with Rene, I liked it at first because I had the nostalgic, like I love Noragami and I love Inuyasha, and it seemed like it would be kind of both of those. It's just that the characters are really, really boring. Like the main girl is not Kagome. That she's not. I don't know much about the guy in Bleach, but she's seemingly more bland than him, and she's like very, very bland.
Awesome.
Yeah, Ichigo seemed better. So and she's definitely not as cool as the girl in Noragami, whose name I can't remember, which is sad because I've read 17 volumes of the manga.
I think her name is Sayori.
Yeah, Sayori. But yeah, it's just like I feel like just watch those first. If you've watched all those, then feel free have at it. But I started Mason Ikoku, which seems like it's going to be cool. I do want to check out Urusei Yatsura at some point, but that has like a million episodes and like 4 movies. Like
I saw the first 5 episodes. Its pacing is rather weird, so you got to get used to that.
Oh, okay. Well, I am going to watch it. I think I'm going to watch that one dubbed because I love the way that the Japanese actress says "darling, darling."
It is all on YouTube. So, it's all on YouTube. So yeah,
nice.
And I've heard the movies are really good, so I want to at least check them out, especially the second movie.
It's Hiyori. He's like, who is it? That's her name. I believe it's Hiyori.
Okay.
I think Sayori is an anime. Sayori is definitely a character in another thing.
Yeah.
It's Hiyori.
Hiyori is not bad. I just like the other characters more.
I thought you would like Hiyori because she likes wrestling a lot.
Okay.
She has a weird
there's a wrestling anime called something to wrestle about or whatever, and it's complete dog shit.
There's also Kick Heart, which is by the same guy that did Devilman Crybaby. There's
also Tiger Mask and Tiger Mask W. Those are really cool.
How is Ultimate Muscle?
Especially being a wrestling fan. So a lot as a kid.
I like Hiyori. Hiyori's cool. Like, I agree.
I haven't seen the original Muscle, but I've heard it's good.
I recommend the Noragami manga if you've only seen the anime. Because who knows if we're ever getting a 3rd season. And if we do, who cares? Just read the manga anyway.
But Miasma, you do know what manga and anime have in common, right?
What's that?
They both have arts. They both have art styles.
They both have art styles. Okay. So, with me, I factor in a couple things into how I like a show. So, I am a believer in the fact that there's an infamous YouTuber on the interwebs that claims that aesthetic is narrative. And I believe that's true to an extent. I don't think everything has to have the greatest aesthetic, but it is a factor that I greatly appreciate in my kind of shows. So it has to have an aesthetic that is appealing or maybe sort of attention gaining for me. It has to have interesting characters. It has to have, I'd prefer if it had interesting dialogue. or if it was. I also really like stories that are relatable. They either two ends of the spectrum. They're either very relatable, or they are. I like how I'm also like twisting my pinky to this. They're either very relatable, or it is so abstract from my life, so like different from my life that I'm like, holy shit! Like now and then, here and there, like that's so different because it's like this other world kind of deal. So with visuals, it's a pretty. Notice how I said that like kind of first. Like it's a pretty big factor. Not that I think that you should judge a story by its cover, because there's a lot of really good-looking anime that are shitty. Guilty Crown. But that's my initial thought. I'll get into a little more after. But how much do visuals play into how you look at a show?
Well, with what you said about characters, that's what I look into. But in terms of visuals, I look at it how I do with video games, because graphically, video games have gotten better, but sometimes good graphics don't necessarily mean a better game. And I think that applies to an anime as well. When it comes to shonen anime, I feel like the art is more important, because I like the hand-drawn art style from the 90s of stuff like this anime, Dragon Ball Z. I would much rather watch this over Super in terms of art style any day. The fights look more real. It looks like Vegeta and Goku are actually beating the shit out of each other. And it isn't as flashy as it is nowadays with more modern shonen anime. Like with My Hero Academia, Black Clover, stuff like that. You know, it seems like it's more flashy with its fights. But I will say, when it comes to slice of life stuff, I am more into the modern art style, because it's really not that big of an action show, and you're more interested in the story than the art style when it comes to a slice of life. So yeah, that's my take on it, on art styles in general.
To dig into it a little more, I would say like something like Cowboy Bebop, just from an era of like nearing the end of like when people were actually doing shit with their hands and then going with cells. Like it's interesting to go back and like watch that. Part of me wishes that I had the Blu-ray for that. I don't. I just had the DVD. But something like that like looks so nice, especially like for its time. And then, but conversely, like I really don't mind like a lot of like stuff that'll have like a lot of not necessarily just like CG elements, but like all right, everybody knows I'm a huge fan of Makoto Shinkai, right? I can't believe I didn't bring any of his stuff over to my desk, but I have every film he's ever done. So, Voices of a Distant Star, Place Promised at Early Days, Children Who Chase Lost Voices, Your Name, 5 centimeters per second, Garden of Words. And they're all awesome. They're not all awesome. They're all pretty good looking. And his evolution as an animator is pretty interesting, because he started doing video games. He was doing video game design, and then decided that he wanted to create his own story with Voices of a Distant Star, Hoshi no Koe, and had like next to no budget or equipment or anything. Yeah. So he did. It's like a 20-minute short, Voices of a Distant Star, and I think you can watch it on YouTube. But he did it on like a Mac computer that he just had, and he voices the main guy. His girlfriend voices the girl. They're like the only two characters in the whole thing. Yeah, which really, like, when I was watching that movie for the first time, keep in mind, I watched Kimi no Na wa first. Then I watched Art. Me and Art were watching. Art showed me Kimi no Na wa first, and then he was like, "Okay, you need to watch Voice of a Distant Star now, since you think Kimi no Na wa was like amazing visually." And honestly, like, obviously, it's not better than Kimi no Na wa, but like, for him himself, like, that's better than what I can do. I am more impressed by Voices of a Distant Star. Oh yeah. I also tend to argue. I think that The Garden of Words is my favorite animated film probably ever. So I also think there's segments of that film that look better than Your Name, and it came out years before it, so I think it's kind of odd. But
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm super impressed by Voices. It's not the greatest like story in the world.
it's not.
Um,
It's okay,
yeah,
but I don't feel like you're gonna watch it for the story. I feel like you're gonna watch it for one history because it's his first, and just on a technical like level of like you can learn from that movie really if you were getting into animation.
yeah. I feel like it's the same reason people go back and watch Future Boy Conan.
Yeah,
Because they're like, oh, Miyazaki started doing storyboards for it, or whatever the fuck he did. Um, Modern art style, what did Axel say? So I'll get to you, White, in a second. I think visuals are important, although animation doesn't really factor into me. I'll have a note on that in a second, but I wanted to read what Light said too. Modern art style is more colorful since it's all digital, unlike traditional animation, a more appealing color palette. Shading in particular, I prefer an older anime than current ones. I can see that. When it comes to mistakes in animation, it's easier to forgive older animation since it's done by hand, unlike with modern animation where it's digital. I expect more. I think, yeah, that's something that I've noticed that like when you get into like reviewing anime, I think you've noticed this
yeah,
too. So often, like okay, when we're talking like Haru no Kyokai, it's every time it's like, yep, the animation's really good. All right, everybody,
yep,
woo! It's fucking awesome looking every
yep,
time. That
yep. We did.
should be said in like most modern shows.
We
Like
did
that's
five. We did five of those things, and we sound like a broken fucking record. We're like, "Yep, the animation's amazing."
and then like something that came out in like 2018, like I reviewed Angels of Death, and I'm like,
Yeah,
it doesn't look that great. Why
yeah.
is that a thing in 2018? Unless you're like
Um,
a studio that's never done anything. Um,
the anime I reviewed a couple months ago, Magical Circle Guru Guru, like consistently the art style in that anime is not that great, but it's still a good show. But consistently in the art, it's just they like what you said with tone shift. It's just all over the place.
and tone shifts are important. I mean, I had a lot of fun making that video. It has an awesome thumbnail. Um,
Yeah,
Axel's, I think visuals are important, although animation doesn't really factor for me. So, Axel, I would say, I'm going to ask Justin this too, and everybody. Um, how much do you factor in stuff like character design or background? Because those are two things that I think that I pay attention to a lot. Um, you look at a show like Made in Abyss, where the backgrounds are fucking awesome, and the character designs are pretty interesting, but the character animations are at times, but the backgrounds look awesome, and then the
they
music's
do.
pretty good too. So it makes up that like kind of makes it a good aesthetic.
Yeah. So for me, what I care about more is the story and the characters. That's all I care about. And the visuals, I feel like, are a plus, especially with something like Made in Abyss. A show that I'll be honest, I was not too big of a fan of a Made in Abyss. I thought I was a little bit overrated. I still think it's a good show, but I didn't really care a lot about what happened in the story. But visually, it was fucking impressive. Like I would imagine the Blu-ray on that would just look fucking like fantastic.
I have not plugged it into my Blu-ray player yet.
Yeah,
I will have to. I'll let you know. But I know here's one that I have not seen that I know you have. Or at least I'm pretty sure you have. Mushishi.
I don't have Mushishi,
Have you seen it?
but I have seen it.
Okay. I have heard that the
Yeah, I've seen it.
backgrounds are awesome.
I've seen the first season at least. Mushishi still holds up to this day.
I've heard it's really beautiful looking.
It is. Obviously, each season gets better, but that first season is still really good looking.
I like I'll factor in character design when I look into the visual appeal of something, just because I feel like with so many anime coming out, I'm very tired of the school uniform. I'm very tired of like, I don't know, just like the same outfits. That's one thing that actually bothered me in Your Name, was that it was just like they're in their school uniform all the time, unless they're in bed grabbing the boobs, which was also kind of annoying. But I don't. I like if you look at like shows that I adore, Eureka 7 has fucking ridiculous character designs. Shiki has insane character designs, but I like that because it's animation, like it's anime, like it's different looking. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Now I think that there's a line to be drawn there because I hate a certain animator who decides to fucking make stuff look weird as shit some of the time, or make stuff look really Western. And you know what? Fuck it. Let's just say it. I hate Hiroyuki Imaishi, okay, and Studio Trigger, even though they worked on one of my favorite shows, Evangelion, because the rest of the shit they make, Panty and Stocking looks like ass. Gurren Lagann looks good sometimes, but the rest of it looks like ass. Fucking Kisniver, from what I saw, looked like ass. Who else is here? Half of Darling in the Franxx probably looks like ass.
Well, that's a co-work there. You can't be too biased on that.
That's why I said half, 50. It's half ass. Axel, I definitely factor in those two more than the animation for sure. Some of my favorites like Cashin Sins and Mushishi don't have great animation, but the visuals are fantastic. I own Mushishi, haven't seen it. Cashin Sins, I saw like a little bit of it on Toonami a long time ago. And I remember it weirding me out how it looked. Like everything looked like fuzzy. Like I thought I was like getting sick or something, or like about to pass out. Like I remember Cashin had like a weird, I don't know, like overtone of it. Like it looked like I was watching the show through like a weird lens. I don't know. That's the only thing I remember about Cashin Sins, and that there's like robots.
I don't know if I'm gonna get around to Cashin Sins.
Yeah. But yeah, I tend not to like. But in terms of like directors, sometimes they're identifiable by their animations, such as Shinkai and Imaishi, and then another one that I'm going to mention is Akiyuki Shinbo. Now, this guy doesn't necessarily, and what I really like about him is that he doesn't animate everything necessarily the same. Like the shows don't always look alike, but it's like you could, by how like the cinematography is and how like the camera like angles and shit are, like you could just tell it's Shinbo, and like weird imagery, like Madoka Magica, I'm sure Bakemonogatari, Dance of the Vampire Bund, like all of this stuff. That weird show that Light showed me that one time, he'll know what I'm talking about. There was some Shinbo show that you showed us in the chat, Light, about like a guy that like fought with a cross or some shit.
There's also La Porche La Petite Cosette.
I meant to watch that during October and I never did.
I watched it and it's trippy. He's got a really trippy style to him, that guy.
Yeah. Oh, March Comes in Like a Lion. Duh.
Of course.
There's a big one that I love, and you think I would have mentioned it.
Speaking of March Comes in Like a Lion, it has the same art style as Eden of the East, which is a nice thing.
Soul Taker. Okay. That's also a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
I've never seen it. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
I saw the first episode, and it looked very Shinbo-esque. But yeah, I like stuff like that. If it's like I like when you could tell like it's by like a certain person, or if it's like it's almost like a signature. It's almost like you've made a painting and like signed it. Like I kind of look at it like that. Now, in terms of what are your thoughts on CG in anime and in animation?
I appreciate CG, but I will talk negatively about it if it's Clang Berserk 2016. There are some CG where it's appropriate, I feel like. The best way I can say about it is, I don't know, something for like the backgrounds. As long as it's not distracting. A show I'm watching, Golden Kamuy, has terrible CGI.
The bear.
Yeah, that fucking bear. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, but they decided to CGI all the animals and the fire, and it looks like absolute dog shit. But the 2D animation looks fucking amazing. So it's like, why do you got to do that? Going back to Berserk 2016 and 2017, they have amazing looking 2D visuals, but they'll always go to that stupid fucking CGI, and I'm just like, pick one.
Hmm.
You've seen Land of the Lustrous. I can't comment on that, but
Yeah, I was gonna
I'm okay.
mention. Oh, go ahead.
I'm okay with CG as long as it stays CG and doesn't decide to move into 2D because it's just too fucking distracting.
Yeah. Well, have you seen the Evangelion rebuild movies?
No.
Okay, because those like as they progress, they're getting more and more CG stuff in them.
Yeah.
And I
I
kind of
also
like the blend of it a little bit. Of course, it has a really high budget.
I also feel like Japan should take note from American CGI because, granted, while Toy Story doesn't look good nowadays, it still holds up pretty well considering it was made like 20 years ago.
And back then, everybody was like, "Holy shit, what is
Yeah,
this?
exactly. And I feel like
Where's my Lion King on his 2D world?"
and that's what I like about old anime is that Scryed here was made back in the good old days of anime where it was still hand drawn, and I feel like this is still going to look good 20 years later. Uh, but CGI and some even when they were going to cell animation probably won't look as good in the next 20 years. My favorite show up there, Fruits Basket, uh, cell animation. It really is a kind of a dated art style. It was by Studio Dean, and they're not known for amazing animation.
Except
But
when they did
yeah,
except when they did Angel's Egg a long time ago, and then they decided, "Hey, I don't know what we're gonna do for the next 20 years."
Studio Dean is really good at promoting their stuff, but they are terrible at animating the shit. Unless it's Sakamoto and Konosuba.
Axel's torn on Shinbo. His shots look beautiful sometimes, but he usually cuts back and forth. I mean, the guy's got a weird style, and not everything he does
Yeah.
is great. But I would say that there isn't a director out there that everything that they do is good. I love Shinkai, and I don't recommend. I paid money to own it, but I don't recommend watching The Place Promised in our early days. And I would only watch Voices of a Distant Star. I wouldn't say you have to own that either, unless you're like a big fanboy, because it's just kind of like a thing. But
Yeah.
it's other stuff. Oh, and Children Who Chase Lost Voices is often hated by a lot of people. I didn't think it was that bad, but his later movies are far better.
I would say stream Voice of a Distant Star at least.
Yeah, I would stream Voices of a Distant Star. Avoid Place Promised in Early Days. Just don't watch it. You don't need to.
If you can find Voice of a Distant Star on Blu-ray for like $1, pick it up, obviously. But other than that, just stream it.
If you're like Justin and you live near like a pawn store that sells anime for like 50 cents.
Yeah, I mean, I got K for like $1.
That's
the
what
first
K,
season.
That's what K deserves to be.
Hey,
From the little bit I saw of K.
Hey, I only took it home and didn't put it in the DVD.
The second I saw the cat girl, I was like,
I saw the cover and I saw the cast and I was like, okay, it looks like it's pretty good. I'll put it on my shelf and I'll finish Durarara, then I'll watch K for second because people like to mix those two shows.
What I did want to mention in terms of for me and CG stuff, I like the integration of it into anime, but I still want. Miasma hates cat girls. Confirmed. I'm not that into cat girls. Yes, I'm not really that into like animal girls. But I like having a little bit of an anime, and I actually didn't watch Land of the Lustrous for like a while because I was kind of nervous that it would suck because I knew it was going to be CG, but then I eventually saw it, and it's one of the most beautiful anime that I've seen, and it's awesome and it's great looking. But I've also heard horror stories about Berserk, and I'm sure other like I don't know how consistent Ajin is and how it looks.
I haven't seen Ajin. I was like, I'm not touching that. Ronia the Robber's Daughter is all CG and it's Ghibli, which you would think. Ghibli is a nice art style. I like most of Ghibli's works. This is when Marnie was there. This is my favorite Ghibli movie, by the way.
I have not seen it.
I like the way Ghibli looks, and when I watched Ronya the Robber's Daughter, and I was like, let's take that style and let's just CGI everything. So imagine watching Kiki's Delivery Service, but all CG. It just
that's something I don't want to happen. Is I don't want people to redo things with CG.
Yeah,
or like at least like have both, like the Ava rebuilds are doing. Like don't have like if they redid Kiki's, although I've never seen Kiki's, but I would still feel like that's pretty shitty.
Yep. Sorry to go into a different direction, but Art of Anime is at his house, and he will be on in 5 minutes.
Awesome.
But you may continue.
What you were like, you had said studio wise. This is going to kind of contrast what I had said about like directors and how their stuff looks. I sometimes get a little bothered by how quickly, and I can't do this all the time, but how fast sometimes I can tell like what studio did something. Mm-hmm. So like, and I think it's just kind of like a lazy sort of like character design kind of thing. Art!
Yep, he's here.
Hello.
He's eating.
Is that a yummy sandwich?
It's an okay sandwich.
It's an okay sandwich. The sandwich is okay confirmed. But
while you eat that sandwich, you can hear us talk about CGI anime.
Yeah. What was it? Oh yeah, I was talking about studios. So
yeah,
I enjoy like being able to tell like certain monikers of directors. However, when it comes to like studios, I sort of get bothered when I could tell like something like White Fox is a studio that just by their character designs alone, often you can tell like this is a White Fox show. Which is not to say that it looks bad, but having seen a couple of White Fox shows, I'm like, this person looks like they could have been in Jormungand. This person looks like they could have been in Steins Gate. Like this person looks like they could have been in the top.
If we want to talk about that, we can talk about A1 Pictures and their McDonald's character design, as Dickie Bro put it.
I was going to say Studio Pierrot, because every time I see clips of Black Clover, I think of Tokyo Ghoul every single fucking time.
Tokyo Ghoul looks better.
Because the characters of Black Clover look like they're just Tokyo Ghoul people in like robes.
Okay? That's what actually... So, interestingly enough, I think Boruto and Black Clover look identical to each other, and it's too fucking distracting.
Oh, Axel brings up, I love that Madhouse doesn't have an identity.
Yeah. I like Madhouse. I like most of Madhouse's works. Mappa is another studio that
there's like a line of Madhouse shows that kind of have the same identity, but when you branch out from them, there's a bunch of different types of Madhouse.
Yeah. Mappa is the same way, I feel.
Ghibli stuff, I've only seen a few movies, to be honest. I know I'm not a real anime fan.
Hey, go back a few podcasts ago. I said Ghibli was overrated.
I kind of think so too. Like,
but I said Princess Mononoke was overrated.
But you know what's weird is Howl's is fucking awesome. Like I love Howl's Moving Castle. So it's like one of my favorite movies.
You're gonna shit your pants when I say this, but I have not seen Howl's Moving Castle.
I didn't see it till like a year ago. So
I haven't seen it either, Justin. I'm not that interested in Ghibli stuff.
I think I'm interested in it, but I don't know if it's timing that's my issue. Because for the most part, I think Ghibli stuff is fine, but I'm not excited to watch it. Unless it's something like Only Yesterday, which was an amazing movie, which you should go check out. And you should also go check out When Marnie Was There.
Well, it's also the fact that, this wouldn't matter on my channel. But if either of you two were to make anything fucking Ghibli related, big dick Disney's gonna come in on your channel and say like, "Fuck you, getting any money on this shit."
Oh yeah. Here's a fun fact. Here's a peek behind the curtain. I was deathly terrified to post out a review because that's Ghibli, and yeah, I don't ever want to deal with Ghibli. So patrons, if you're expecting me to review this stuff, be prepared for me to say no.
I can do it though because I don't put any clips.
Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do a text review on Mal. Maybe I'll do that.
If someone wants to join my Patreon, if one of my patrons or somebody that wants to join Patreon wants me to do a fucking Ghibli movie, I'll do it. Gives a shit. What are they gonna do?
Review every single Ghibli movie once a month. I'm your patron, so
I don't think it matters too much for you, Miasma, because you don't really use the clips at all.
Exactly. So they're not gonna.
Yeah.
How dare you use that image you took from fucking Google Images, you prick?
Hey, to be fair, I have a friend that she used one image, and her videos are much like yours, where she just talks into a camera, and she put up one picture of a show and got a copyright strike on it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I believe it can happen.
That can happen. Yep.
One thing that I wanted to bring up in terms of CG stuff that I like, I mentioned Land of the Lustrous, and I mentioned the Ava rebuilds. I'm a huge Ruby fan, and the new episode actually came out today, so this actually reminded me to talk about this. I think Ruby's awesome, and yes, it's anime. It's one of my favorite series, and it's progressively gotten better and better in terms of almost everything, like character-wise, plot-wise, world development, and definitely animation, because this is volume 5. And then volume 6, which is airing right now, is the best-looking season. But if you go back, I'll even admit, if you go back to volume 1, like, it looks like ass. Because back then they were using an entirely different program to animate it, and it was definitely just like a passion project at that time by Monty Yom and like a group of people, and they were like, hey, we're going to make this show, and if it works out, we'll go make some more. I don't know why they talk like that, but so it looks pretty bad. All the background characters were like in Durarara, where like they're just like blacked out. Early Durarara, you know what I'm talking about, where like it's just like Mikado, just like walking right, and then you just see just random black figure in the background or gray figure. Yeah. That annoys me a little bit, but never seen Ruby. Don't play it to any time. Come on, Light.
There's actually a show I want to talk about where the art style is really good in the beginning, but with every season it just gets shittier, and it's called Yu-Gi-Oh! And I've had this, I've had this pet peeve when they get into the Seal of Orichalcos arc, which I rewatch because most of the time when I'm really bored, I just go and watch a random episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that's the kind of life I live. And I've noticed that arc, animation-wise, is terrible compared to its first season.
They had to pump out those fillers.
Yeah,
I just know everybody. The best part about Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime in general is the hairstyles. It's almost Shiki-esque.
Yugi is fucking insane. Jaden is normal, kinda.
I like Akiza's because she has 2 giant personalities, but when you're not looking at those, she has like these like her like the front of her hair goes like down here, and it's like sharply like it looks like daggers. It looks like if you touch the bottom of it, it would cut your hand open.
Hey man, Alexis is bigger.
No, Alexis is like 12.
Yeah, but she gets older and she's in Arc V.
Okay, maybe by then, but not in like GX when she mattered.
That's debatable about matter.
Ben 10 is the same way. The art style is pretty good, but becomes way more cartoonish the longer it goes on. I've actually seen a good amount of Ben 10. I prefer older Ben 10, so that's a good point.
So, some American shows do that too, where like the art style in the beginning is amazing, but progressively it'll get shittier. And sometimes I feel like with American and Japan as well, they pour into their budget for the opening and they give less of a shit, like -1 when it comes to the actual show. Like a good example is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Watch the opening and then go watch a random episode, and you'll see the animation quality kind of dip. Granted, yeah, that was an 80s show, but still, it still applies for today.
Fun fact: the guy that made Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is from Massachusetts, where I'm from. Oh, he lived like an hour from here. About there used to be like a fucking like I don't know if there was like a museum or something. It used to be like a big fucking deal, and I was just like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And they're like, "Oh, he made Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles," and I was like, "Okay." Little did I know that years later I'd be having a podcast on Sunday nights about Japanese cartoons.
Fun fact, there is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle anime, but it's only 2 episodes long.
It's also
really terrible.
It's also a Lilo and Stitch anime.
I've never seen it, but I've looked it up and saw it was there. So yeah.
So like basically, I guess we can get Light's thoughts about like what we had talked about. So for me and Justin were like pretty similar in the sense that we put like there is like some focus at least when we look at a show on its visual, on the aesthetic of it. But there's like a lot of factors that go into that. Like we mentioned, like there's character design, there could be backgrounds, there could be just like different types of animation used or something like that. Like when you look at a series as someone or somebody, like I know you don't really do reviews, but like when you're looking at a show, how much do visuals like play into it, or like how do you look at them besides with your eyes?
Yep.
Oh, did I say light? I meant art.
Yeah, you said light.
Did I say light? My bad.
Well,
you know why?
Like,
it's because Light's name is all over the right side of my screen. And then I saw, I meant to ask art. But yeah, you guys see in chat. There's a Kirby anime. I knew that.
Yeah, Kirby is awesome.
I'm sure. I knew it. I was about to say, I'm sure Justin's seen it. Holy shit.
I saw it back when I was a kid. I haven't seen it now, but I'm talking about the games.
Okay, art. How much do visuals play in now? You look at a show.
A lot. For example, some people got into the argument in the comments of my Bunny Girl video about how Bunny Girl looks amazing.
All right. I would disagree.
First off, it's the return of CGI student from Persona 5 the animation. He looks a little better this time, but he got a little more polish around the edges from Persona 5, but he's still very noticeable.
That's the second time I've done that. He's not wrong.
But it's A1 Pictures, Cloverworks. It's that art style, and I don't think that studio's done much amazing animation outside of like the environments and like Anohana, some of like the paint work in Your Lie in April, and I'm iffy on Seven Deadly Sins. Yeah.
That's something I actually want to bring up. I think the manga does the art better than the anime.
For which one? I'm sorry.
Seven Deadly Sins.
Okay.
Because
I haven't seen it.
I also noticed that further back before I came in, people were talking about Ajin, and I remember sitting there watching the first episode of that show, and there's a scene in episode 1 where a bus turns around a corner. I don't know who out there remembers this scene, but there's this scene where a bus turns around a corner, and I was watching it with my cousin, and we paused it, and we're like, go back. We're like, that bus looks like it's moving at 2 frames per second.
That's the rate the cherry blossoms fall.
Which Ajin is another show which the manga looks so much better.
Yeah.
But your main question was like, how much does that play into how I look at a show?
Yeah.
I dropped Ajin the first time because of that. I went back and rewatched the whole first season and didn't catch me enough to watch the second.
I'm similar. I will drop something if I don't like how it looks.
I'm more of a story guy, but if it's distracting, I will try to avoid it.
Yeah,
Did you?
I try to get used to like certain art styles I don't like either, but if it's distracting like Ajin.
Now, did you finish Panty and Stocking with Garter Build?
Me?
I did.
Either.
Yeah,
I did.
Okay.
I reviewed it, so I have to finish it.
That's right. I'd forgotten.
That
was one that I had started, and I stopped.
Panty and Stocking is going to be a very split thing. You'll either love it or you'll hate it. I'm kind of on the middle. I'm kind of on the middle because it's not.
What art style in Panty and Stocking didn't you like? Did you like the the?
I love when they I love when they look like anime girls.
I'm talking like the actual Gainax art style, that you liked, but like the one that's more.
It's typical. It's typical anime shows. I only saw the first 3, I think. The animation is primarily in it, not during their transformations. Right? Don't they like is it when they take off their underwear or something? I also hate the fucking premise and all the toilet humor. That's not. I'm also biased because it's
honestly like I think of all of the Gainax and Trigger shows I've watched, I think Panty and Stocking was my least favorite. So
I mean.
I can understand where you're coming from with the toilet humor and all that because that was kind of a turn off.
Here we go. Justin's gonna defend it. Yep. Here we go. It's fucking great. You don't understand it, Miasma. Here comes a comment section if I ever made a video on it. You don't understand. Japan censors a lot of things, so when they get the freedom to act like a Western show, it's actually pretty innovative.
Okay, so for Panty and Stocking, I'm kind of in the middle of it because it reminds me of South Park, and I like South Park, but I feel like Panty and Stocking does it too much, if that makes sense.
Feels like it's trying.
It does. It really does. It really does. Like, there's some jokes in it that are funny. Like, I thought the D-Day reenactment with all the seamen, I thought that was funny. But I'm not going to laugh at every time Panty calls Stocking a fat ass or when Stocking calls Panty a whore for having sex with a million dudes. I feel like if they...
What about that one scene where she's literally having sex? And all you hear is moaning.
Well, yeah.
Leave me alone until I have my fucking sugar. I need to eat fucking cakes and shit in the morning because I'm allowed to eat fucking... People jerk off to me.
When it comes to comedy, I don't like everything being repeated. Like I like when we talked about Bento, consistency is very important for comedy anime. Don't say the same joke for 12 episodes because that will get boring.
Shout out to Bento again.
But
Bento's all right.
On like the reverse of it, you can have like the same general gag going for 12 episodes, but it's in how you differ it that makes it work.
Yeah.
Like
I think
look at
Sakamoto.
Sakamoto. Yeah.
See, I didn't finish. What I saw of Sakamoto, I didn't like it.
I think Sakamoto has a good formula, but it does it differently with each episode. Like it's the same formula, but it's different. You know, it feels like the writers are like, okay, we got this formula. It's the same shit. He's perfect at everything, but what can we do differently? What's the in between?
See, when I first watched Sakamoto, I had already read all of the manga, so I was actually I was kind of underwhelmed by the show.
Yeah,
like I think the manga was a little funnier.
There's another show talking about comedy and art styles, but it's Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and this is going to be a very controversial decision, but this has a better art style than this.
I would love to know what you're holding up before you do that.
He's holding up
the original-
Brotherhood and FMA original series.
Yep. I like the darker tone in Fullmetal Alchemist, the original.
Do you like the Robo General guy that's near the end? That's really dumb.
Yeah.
General
Yeah,
Robo.
I thought that was
You like Robo General Archer, whatever the fuck his name is.
General
Really dumb
Terminator.
idea.
General Terminator Scorpion on steroids. You know,
Yeah.
that was dumb as fuck, but I thought, like, you know what? Fuck it.
Light.
But yeah.
One thing that always blows my mind though is people will poop on Studio Dean, but Angel's Egg is a thing. So
Studio Dean has like a lot of gems that people overlook, and I think in 2016, I feel like they went in like a really good direction because they had Sakamoto, which looked okay, but they had Shogun Roku and Konosuba as well in that year. And then since then, I'm like, okay, what have they done?
they're doing what I just started from back in the 80s, Mason Ikoku, which is another Rumiko Takahashi show, and they did. I think
yeah,
also
but I'm
did
saying from
recent. Yeah. I'm just mentioning something that, and then they had Angel's Egg, which, if you haven't seen Angel's Egg, fucking real disservice because that has some of the greatest backgrounds I've ever seen in anime.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucking
Studio
really cool
Dean
movie.
is like a wave.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna try. Nope.
And then
it's kind of like Gonzo during a show. It's like, all right, Afro Samurai when they're fighting. Yep, here we go. Every other scene.
I think Gonzo does it worse than Dean.
All right, NHK when we're trying to show like emotion in our characters' faces. All right, yep, everything else. All right.
Like, here's what I said about here's what I say about Gravitation. Gravitation is by Dean. The thing I've noticed about Dean's shows is that their promotional art is absolutely fantastic. Their openings are pretty good. The actual show itself, it looks dated as all hell. And it's not going to look good in 20 years. That's why I say stuff like Scryed, Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho will look good in the next 20 years. Because it's all hand-drawn and it's more impressive.
Inuyasha becomes more. Inuyasha gets cell animated later, so you might be disappointed.
Yeah, but like
it ran a long time. So
Yu Yu Hakusho doesn't. So my favorite show is Safe.
Funnily enough, I actually kind of like it more when it got cell animated. When you can, I don't know. It seemed like I felt like I remember because I grew up with the show, and I was just like, well, it was like, oh, I'm growing up, and so is Inuyasha, even though he's a demon dog boy. But art.
Eli Agu Genius Doll. I have no idea what that is.
What show was it?
Agu Genius Doll. It's a Studio Dean show from this year. I've never even heard of it.
Neither have I.
So that's my point. What is Studio Dean doing?
The last thing I can remember them doing was Neo Yokio. That was like,
yeah, they worked on that.
Yeah.
All right. One thing I wanted, and yes, art this time, not late. One thing I do want to ask that we had brought up is who we generally find visually appealing, like director wise, or even like it could be like studio wise, because I think that factors into it. Like I had mentioned Akiyuki Shinbo, and it's sort of like in contrast to sort of what I was saying about like White Fox. Whereas, like, and this is, I don't think White Fox stuff necessarily looks bad, but I kind of don't like how, like, I see, without even looking anything up, I see, like I said, that, like, oh, these guys look like they're about to walk into Jormungand, or they're about to walk into Akame ga Kill. With Shinbo, it's like, you could tell, like, people will look different, but, like, you can tell, like, the camera angle, like, cinematography, shots, imagery, that's how you tell. He mixes it up otherwise, from what I've seen. I haven't seen Monogatari's, but like March Comes in Like a Lion and Dance of the Vampire Button and fucking Madoka Magica.
Monogatari is probably, when you're talking about Shinbo in that way, that's probably I think one of the strongest examples of like Shinbo's best.
Okay.
Because you'll have a camera switch, the track will turn on, and the way he moves the camera with the music in Monogatari just kind of goes along with it, and then the dialogue overlapped with the actual backing track. Like all of it feels like it's like meticulously put together by this man to get a certain feeling out of a certain scene.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like, oh, let's put some generic sad music in the back, make our character cry, and that's it. Now people will cry. I think Shinbo has it's shown really strong in Madoka Magica too, just a way to like make something creepy. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not just visually, it's you have the music, you have the camera angle like you mentioned. And
I
just
love
how,
the witch fights.
Yeah.
Are so cool in that show. Like
I think that's one of Shinbo's strengths is just you look at Madoka Magica, you look at the character design, like just in general, and then you look at Monogatari and you're like, no, that's not the same studio.
Mhm.
Oh, that's the same studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
another.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Another studio I want to bring up that I really enjoy is JC Staff. I think when they really put in the effort, they'll make some amazing stuff, like in Food Wars. Shakugan no Shana, I think, visually looks good. Even though I prefer a hand-drawn art style for a shonen show, I still think JC Staff looks good.
They also
when it comes to shonen.
They let me down recently with Vatican Miracle Examiner, so
they let me down with shonen.
They're in a penalty box for a little while, but Shakugan no Shana is another one that I really like.
Food Wars visually looks amazing. But even their past stuff like Utena, I think, despite Revolutionary Girl Utena being a budget show, I still think it still looks pretty good for even today's standards. Sure, it's not going to be Madhouse level, but it's still really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like we don't talk about Danmachi. That show just doesn't exist.
Oh no, we don't talk about that. Well, maybe because I haven't seen it. And I've been told by Art that.
By the way,
I've been told by Art that Danmachi is absolute garbage, and I should avoid it.
I'm going to also bring up that JC Staff did Angels of Death because I just confirmed that via Wikipedia, and that show kind of looks like ass. So there's that too. Maybe they're like Gonzo, where like they go, half of them go on like vacation for like part of the direct, like or part of the process. Was Cat Soup JC Staff?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that
yet.
Yeah. Bone shows look pretty good. That's a good point by Axel. Yeah, they do.
Bones has some really cool animation.
Bones is like the go-to, like, hey, we're gonna have people fighting and we're gonna have weird powers. It's like a very miasma thing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like, hey,
have you watched Mob Psycho 100 yet?
Yes, and it's fucking gorgeous. And I also like Noragami a lot, and I like Brotherhood a lot. Bones is, and I love Eureka 7. Bones is very much in high praise for me. I'm very biased.
I like a lot of Bones stuff too. I like Soul Eater, both Fullmetal Alchemists.
I like having Bones. Having Bones, being able to like do this is great.
I've never broken a bone, so
I have. It sucks.
Yeah. The worst.
Okay,
the worst
so
injury.
while we're talking about Bones, I'm just waiting for Light to mention how much he dislikes My Hero Academia.
Okay, I'll give My Hero Academia this. I will praise My Hero Academia for like 5 seconds. Visually, it looks nice, but again, it's just too flashy for me.
I recently had somebody that I know in IRL that was like, he watches this once in a while, and he's a like moderate anime fan, mostly just like shonen kind of stuff like DBS. But he watches Hero Aka, and he was like, man, there's one guy in your chat that always shits on Hero Aka. So Light, you're famous, right? You're that guy.
You know what? I think if Light does a YouTube channel and just shits on My Hero Academia, he'll get pretty decent following.
Yeah, but all his videos will be disliked into oblivion.
Yeah, but hey, It's the views that count, doesn't it? Whatever gets those clicks.
But yeah, I think that's.
Oh, Art, I wanted to ask you, because there was a question that we brought up earlier, but I know you did a video on it, and what do you think of CG anime?
Some
What
of
we
it are
kind of
good.
said, what we kind of said is that some CG anime is very distracting. Like in a Golden Kamuy, 2D looks absolutely beautiful, but the CGI and everything else is visually distracting. And it's the same thing with Berserk 2016. The 2D stuff is gorgeous, but they take it away with the CGI and the flash animation. And it's just like, pick one side. Just pick one. Don't go both.
Okay, so I think when it comes to that, you have to know how to meld the two together. Like, generally, if you don't know what you're doing, use CG for backgrounds.
Mhm.
Like certain Shinkai movies. I mean, there's a lot of things that use CG for backgrounds, and there's other shows like one that comes out to me like off the top of my head is probably Yuki Yuna is a Hero, where the whole show is pretty much 2D, but the monsters they fight are 3D. And to me, that kind of adds to the effect of these beings are otherworldly. So
Roka did that same thing.
For them to be in 3D kind of and look jarring is kind of the point.
Mhm.
Like in those cases, I think CG works fine. Very rarely should you use it on a human character like Berserk did. That was terrible. I think if we go back and look at like the Berserk movies, the studio that worked on that, I think it was 4 Degrees C. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think after they got to the third movie, they kind of got where they were going with it.
Mhm.
But I think not specifically just CG, but 3D and 3D animation in general. If you want to look at like really good 3D animation, and you might not even know that it's 3D, is looking at anything that doesn't look like it can happen in 2D from any UFO table show. Some of those fights in Karo no Kyokai are 3D animated.
Yeah.
That's the same crowd that'll be like, "Oh, this is the most purest, beautiful animation ever. Nothing has the gradients Fate Zero has."
Notice how I didn't bring up Fate. Here's the thing, though, with Fate. Like, I think it looks good and all, but from what I've seen of UFO Table, I think, even though I think it sucks, Tales of Zestiria the Cross, I think that, from what I've seen of them, is the most beautiful show they've made.
I've only seen Karo Kyokai's and Fate Zero, which was beautiful.
I've seen trailers and clips of Tales of Asteria.
It's not a great show.
I'm gonna give
if you like the game, watch it.
I'm not a Tales fan, really.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Guilty Crown, because that is. I should make a video about this.
Mm-hmm.
I call Guilty Crown the beautiful disaster piece, because it is aesthetically fucking awesome. Like, if I had like a long time ago, I used to do like a scoring system in my head of like, I would give on my old channel, I did like grades, like A, B, C, D and stuff like that. And like, I remember when I was first watching Guilty Crown, I was still doing that old channel, and I was like, this would be a fucking A+ aesthetic wise, but everything else is like a D what the fuck is this? And it's so true because it's, I believe it's IG, and then it's fucking, if not, it's actually Bones. It's one of those two, which are both fucking awesome studios. So it looks awesome. It's got great music by Egoist, and it's fucking awesome. And then it has one of my favorite OPs of all time, and then also has great background music, and there's other songs sung by one of the characters in the show. But then the narrative is all over the fucking place, and the character motivations are going this way and that way, and this guy's dying, and you're supposed to care about him, but you don't. And then this girl is doing something.
But hey, that character dying will at least look good.
I mean, it does. There's like fights in the sky with like the mechs, and like the wind is all. It's fucking awesome. You know what? Watch Guilty Crown without the audio. Play music. Play some like drum and bass. Treat it like you're fucking grinding in like Diablo or something. Like just like it's like just be like, wow, this looks pretty good. Except you'd be missing the music.
No,
you know what? No, buy the soundtrack to Guilty Crown and watch Guilty Crown with the soundtrack covering all of the dialogue. Whenever a character goes to talk,
you don't even have to do that.
Funny.
Just go to the playlist on YouTube. It's probably there.
It's funny that you bring up Diablo, because much like Blizzard turning around and asking the crowd, "Do you guys not have phones?" It's like the production team of Guilty Crown was like, "Do you guys not have pencils to write a story?"
They don't.
Yeah, they just coded it all in like permanent marker.
And it's directed by Tetsuo Araki. I don't know what the fuck happened. I think that's like, I think that there was
paid him a lot for it.
He like was barely part of it. I think he like came in like the first and the last day, and like he was just like, holy shit. Like he came in the first day, just like, all right, we're gonna lay out, because like in the first episode, it seems all right. It's like this like mech kind of thing, and like this weird disease or some shit like took out a portion of the population, and now there's like the rich people and like the military, and then there's like the poor people in the city, and there's like rebellion going on, and then a whole bunch of fucking bullshit happens, and then at the end it sort of resolves itself, not really, and then that's how that goes. But yeah, just get the soundtrack, play the soundtrack over the show, just treat it like an AMV.
Yeah,
the entire thing.
Yeah,
Guilty Crown, the AMV edition.
And I own that shit on Blu-ray just because it's so awesome looking. I fucking love it. How it looks. Almost like I love my Shinkai collection, but it's just so disappointing. Like I always think of that whenever somebody's like, "What is the best looking anime you've seen?" Because I'm always like, "Oh, do you want that answer?" Because I'm always like, I can tell you what's one of the best looking series I've seen, but I don't want you to watch it. Tetsuo Araki was clearly waiting to direct the next big thing. Hey man,
be right back.
Okay. Hey, Araki was taking potato chips and eating them, so that's how that went. And now he's doing. I kind of hope that he directs Vinland Saga, because I think that would be really cool. Because it's Studio Wit, and it's, I think he would be a good choice to have just really intense moments. Because Vinland Saga is a rather intense show, or manga, at least, from what I've seen so far. But I think it's going to be awesome. Oh. Is Justin getting a quick vacuum in? Is that what that audio is?
No, the fan on my computer kicked in.
Oh, okay. I thought Justin was cleaning up his crumbs or something.
The crumbs from what?
Who knows?
Your favorite Wisconsin anime YouTuber has returned.
Oh, what's up, Wisconsin anime man?
Would that make him Wisconsinese?
Yeah. What's the term? Wisconsinite?
Wisconsinites.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I actually don't know. Massachusetts.
Again, I did a little. I was actually born in Florida, so yeah.
Yeah, he's been everywhere, man.
Yeah. I was born in Florida. I moved to Connecticut when I was a wee little lad. Then I moved to Minnesota. Then I moved to Wisconsin. I moved all over the place.
I told him mine was way more boring because I live in the town next to the city in which I was born in. And I've lived here besides when I was at school.
Yeah.
Which was
40
minutes from here.
But also, yours is way more cooler because you've exited the United States.
I did. I did live in Japan for 7 days.
Yeah.
I don't see what the fuck people in Massachusetts are called. I thought it said it here on the wiki. Maybe I'm wrong.
Why don't you come up with it?
I think it's like Massachusetts and whatever. People don't care.
Art's got it easy. They're just called New Yorkers.
New Yorkers.
Or New Englandists, or whatever they're called.
Yeah, but he also has the downside of, like, you say you're from New York, and I feel like a lot of people probably just assume you're near the city. And if you're not near the city, then, like, they're like, oh, there's other things in New York besides New York City? It's kind of like I live far from Boston. So, like, people are like, why don't you talk like Yapakaka and Harvard Yard? Because I don't talk like that. And the only people that talk like that are from, like, Southie or from, like, that area. Like, elsewhere, we don't fucking talk like that. I say wicked as, like, an adjective. That's a Massachusetts thing. It was wicked awesome would be how we describe something. And it does not mean that it's evil, surprisingly.
Yeah. When you're in Wisconsin and even Minnesota, you'll hear a lot of, That's the term they use all the time in where I live.
Light went to Guatemala, El Salvador, almost went to Japan and Canada, lived in California, Kansas, Georgia, Washington, and eventually Florida. Well, that's right, you're moving to Florida.
This is a very nice CG talk.
It is. It is interesting that Leia is fucking bounced around all over the goddamn place.
There's something I do want to know. Art, what anime have you been watching?
Oh, that's right.
I'm at the Chimera Ant arc finally in Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, great. You're at the most overrated arc in anime. That's right, I said it. Fucking come after me, every single person in this chat, probably.
I just Saga the animation. And
thoughts on that?
I tried the Pet Girl of Sakura, and I could see that getting old really quickly after the first episode, so I'm not going to continue it.
But the thing I'm curious about is, what do you think? What do you think of Xenosaga the animation?
It was all right.
Because I am a fan of the games.
I never played the first game. I played the second and the third one, so I don't know
played the first.
How it covers the first, how well it covers it, but it told a coherent story.
I played the first game, I played the second game, and I never played the third game.
Oh, so you don't even know how the series ends?
Oh, I know how the series ends. I've been spoiled to it.
Okay.
But I've never played it.
Do you know who Red Testament is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's what matters. That's what matters.
I do want to play Xenosaga 3, but it is fucking expensive.
Also,
just emulate it.
There's also something I want to mention because I did not get to see Art's beautiful face last week. Is that and I also wanted to thank Justin too for recommending me Clan Ad.
Yeah,
because Clan Ad was a cool show, and I look forward to watching Clan Ad After Story. And if it wasn't for knowing you two dudes, I would have put that show off forever. For sure.
I'm forcing him to watch After Story because you kind of need to if you're going to watch Clan Ad.
Okay, did you start After Story yet?
No.
Watch the OVAs first.
Okay. I don't know if they're on the site that I was using, but I will try. I'll look. Yeah, that was good. I would also say in terms of what I watched. So thank you. Everybody should watch Ruby, and everybody should not watch Bento, and then everybody should watch Clanad in that order.
Yeah.
And I started Mason Ikoku, and I watched one episode, so I can't say if you should sit around for 96 episodes of that or not.
Yeah. I'm watching Golden Kamuy. I think it's pretty good, minus the CGI. That could have been not used, but overall, it's still a good show. I finished Gravitation. I'm kind of met on it. I'm actually planning on watching Yuri on Ice again because those two shows are very similar, and I kind of want to know what I like more.
Because of the gayness.
Well, I mean, Victor, and
You're born to make victory.
80% of that sentence was you saying
yeah.
Ooh,
Also,
Axel
I'm-
says, "Cleared out his shit. Shots fired at the Clanad fan." By the way, I do want to mention that that's a very good example of something where I hated the character designs, but it was a cool show.
Yeah. Also, I'm like 20 chapters away of getting caught up in Seven Deadly Sins. Because there was a time where I was just like, I don't feel like reading this anymore. And then I saw the new opening, and then I was just like, I want to get caught up now. So
It's all about that second
on a
OP. All come together. There is no reason why.
not that one. I'm talking about the second opening.
Whoa.
Here's the thing about Seven Deadly Sins, the anime. The first opening I'm kind of mad about, but I love their second openings, and it goes for
pain and
seasons.
pleasure.
Yeah, that's what it is through pain. And it's so like, I love the English of through pain and through pleasure all come together. There's no reason why. A Guilty Crown does that shit too, and that's my favorite one because she goes,
Men with a Mission.
Okay, you know what? I have actually never seen Guilty Crown. I'm gonna watch it tonight. I need to. At this point, I need to.
You're just gonna watch the first
After
episode?
you're going,
Hey,
oh
maybe
no,
we
I'll
can
probably
watch
watch
it.
the whole series. I want to see the train wreck.
oh, yeah, it's
Maybe
fucking
you-
insane.
Maybe we can watch it in your Discord with the watch line. Come join the Art of Anime Discord. We'll watch anime together. Sometimes we'll watch even hentai.
But okay, we're gonna close it off with that. We're gonna close off watching hentai. Anybody who is here that isn't typically here, if there are any of you, please sub to both of these guys' channels. They're awesome. Check out their Patreons as well. And there's a lot of cool stuff going on with that. I have a Patreon as well. We're always open to suggestions for stuff to talk about. Axel had actually brought this up in last week's cast, what we had talked about tonight, animation-wise. So thank you very much, Axel. And you can always message us or whatever about stuff you'd like us to talk about. So let us know. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you guys next week. See ya.
There you go.